Infrared photography opens up a whole new world of creative possibilities, and one way to do IR photography is by having a camera converted to full spectrum. But is this the best choice or the right choice for you? Join me while I talk about the pros and cons and share my initial results. For this experiment, I sent a Sony A7II off to Kolari Vision to be converted to a full spectrum camera, and it has returned. I converted my first digital camera over 15 years ago, but I've never had a full spectrum camera to shoot with, so I'm excited to see what this camera can do. A full spectrum camera conversion is when the hot filter of a digital camera is removed and replaced with a clear glass filter. This allows the camera to see UV, visible, and infrared light spectrums instead of just the normal visible light spectrum. Just by looking at the camera, you would never know it's any different from any other Sony A7II. Additionally, I will say that I'm impressed with the quality of the conversion by Kolari Vision. After just a few images, it's easy to determine that there's no dust or smudges on the new AR glass filter. The differences start when you look through the viewfinder. Then you start seeing just how different this camera is. Depending on which filter you are using, you see the world in a completely different way. This brings up a really important point. Once you have a full spectrum camera, you will need to use filters going forward on that camera. This is an additional cost versus, say, a more traditional IR-only conversion. Given there are so many different filters and types, I will talk about them more in depth in future videos. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see those future videos. So now let's talk about the all-important part, the images. The most common way to edit an IR image is by converting it to black and white. The light in this image was just amazing, the way it was hitting the side of the mountain. Note how the sky is dark, and that really pops the clouds and other highlights. This is a good example of how landscape IR can really add a different feel to your photography. IR photography is renowned for turning foliage white, which gives an image an otherworldly feel. See the cactus all white in this image, giving it a completely different feel than if this was just a traditional color image of a cactus. Since converting a camera is all about experimenting with different light spectrums, I decided to try the Kolari Vision IR Chrome filter. This filter is designed to replicate vintage Kodak aerochrome film. As you can see here, it gives you a really cool red and blue vibe right out of the camera when shooting with your white balance set to 5K or daylight. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you're enjoying the content, it really helps me. One thing I really like about IR landscape images is the ability to really focus on a subject. This image of rocks in broad daylight is a great example. The image really highlights the shadows, textures, and shapes in a way that, say, you would lose if the image were shot just in color on your cell phone. Additionally, I really like the sun flare due to the angle of the sun. It really adds some character. Simply put, the pros to do a full spectrum conversion are the flexibility you get to use many filters for different results. It can take your photography to a whole new creative place that you might not have even thought about before, and you can still use the camera for visible light spectrum images with a filter. The cons of doing this type of conversion are that it's expensive to have done, and you need filters, which are an additional cost, i.e. if you just do a more traditional IR conversion, it's ready to shoot when you get the camera back. Additionally, there's always a risk anytime you start messing with the internal components of a digital camera. I've done IR conversions myself in the past, and you have to be extremely careful. Real honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing this yourself because it really is touchy. This is a really tricky question to answer. A full spectrum conversion is not an inexpensive endeavor, but if you want to take your photography to a completely different creative space, a full spectrum conversion is a good option to do so. If you only have one camera body, a full spectrum conversion could be a good choice, since with the use of a filter, you can still take visible light spectrum images, and you cannot do that with a standard IR conversion. Ultimately, check out the images and determine if this is the type of photography that you want to do. Now on to the easier question. Would I do a full spectrum conversion again? So far, the quick answer is definitely. I have no regrets. I really like the flexibility of being able to use different filters for different results out of the same camera. I've always liked shooting IR photography, and I've actually had a few IR converted cameras in different IR spectrums. I do like the full spectrum conversion because of the many options that it gives me. I really do love the idea that I can change the style that I'm shooting in just by changing a filter. Hope this helped you understand what a full spectrum camera conversion is and decide whether it might be the right thing for you. If you want to see more about creative photography ideas, tips, and tricks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And until next time, enjoy your photography journey.